All right, everyone, welcome back to the Digital Desk here at KY3. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day. It is 9 a.m. here on a Thursday morning, which means it's time for us to have another episode of On Your Side. And as always, we do have a lot to get to this morning. And today we're going to start by talking about student loans, a new warning for millions of student loan borrowers. The popular Save repayment plan is ending on July 1st after a court ruling, and it's time to pick a new plan. In today's Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa is here this morning. She's talking with an expert about everything that you need to know.
Starting July 1st, the 7.5 million people enrolled in the Save student loan repayment plan will have 90 days to pick a new plan. Robert Farrington, the founder of the College Investor, says this is part of a court settlement agreement, and emails will be sent out on July 1st to everyone who is currently on the Save plan.
Borrowers that don't pick a new repayment plan will be moved to the standard repayment plan. So payments will be due one way or another in October or so of 2026. Of course, if borrowers don't start making payments when they default into the standard plan, they move down the path of delinquency and default.
Farrington says studentaid.gov has put a banner at the top of the website warning about this change. The loan servicers all have notices when you log in, so borrowers need to log in and check with their loan servicer and make sure their contact information is updated.
But it's also the time to run the numbers. You need to know what your payment will be under these repayment plans. You really have just a couple options. The options are the standard repayment plan, which of course pays off your student loans. You have the IBR, income-based repayment plan, which will set your monthly payment between 10 to 15% of your discretionary income.
And if you do wait until July, the new repayment assistance plan launches, which will base your payment from $10 a month up to 10% of your adjusted gross income for earners that have more than $100,000 in adjusted gross income. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
All right, and now this morning we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about genetics. Maybe you've heard about a smoker who never exercised and is living happily into old age, or a vegan runner who had a heart attack at the age of 45. It'll probably make you wonder if your well-being is simply written into your genes. In this Aging Untold Extra, Tisha Powell is here this morning exploring the roles genetics and the environment play in your health.
A family history of heart disease, diabetes, or high cholesterol can feel like a warning about what's ahead. But doctors say genes are only part of the story. Aging Untold expert Dr. Ray Rogers says inheriting a risk is not the same as a guarantee to get the disease.
The gene just says you have it, you have the risk or you don't. It doesn't mean that it's going to be turned on. You have to turn the gene on. So what turns the gene on is what we call epigenetics, your terrain or your environment. In the right setting, and you give it the wrong things, then you probably will get that.
Beyond diet and exercise, Dr. Rogers says some outside exposures can take a toll on the body as well.
The other things that you don't have as much of a control over is the environmental toxins. So environmental toxins will do what? They will damage DNA, they will create inflammation. So that's a harder one to control.
Rogers says inflammation builds up in the body over time, and efforts to control that can help in the long run.
Go back to the basics. Foundation is, inflammation, minimize inflammation.
Remember, your genes may shape your risk, but your environment and daily habits still help shape the outcome.
All right, and now we're at the point of the show where we test out a product to see if it actually works. If you do any sort of golfing, then you know it's pretty easy for your clubs to get dirty. Well, today we're testing out a device that promises to easily clean your equipment. Rachel Hackbarth is here this morning with this week's Does It Work?
Golfing isn't just a hobby for Cody Ratcliffe, it's a part of his job at Golf Slice, so he likes to make sure his clubs are always ready to go.
I got a club scraper. Once you get your clubs muddy, kind of just scrape off, and then hopefully that's good enough for you. You got to kind of add some liquid to it every now and then.
Could this work better for him? It's the Mosty Golf Club and Ball Cleaner. It costs $19.99. The makers claim this portable small pouch transforms into a cleaning kit because of its textured fabric that lines the inside.
Well, have you ever seen one of these before?
I have.
What are your thoughts just from looking at it?
I think it's good. I think you can get some moisture in here. It'll kind of clean the mud and the dirt off.
Speaking of dirt,
Okay, so we got some dirt there.
we just need to add some moisture to our product.
So pour it in there like that. Just kind of swash this around.
I mean, it looks clean
Looks
to me.
pretty clean to me
Okay,
too.
that's
I don't
good.
know, it's a pretty good deal there. Let's see.
Just to be safe, we get this club a little dirtier.
Okay, so we'll try this again here.
Okay, there you go.
Awesome, yep, so we'll go ahead and pop it in there. See if the moisture will get it all clean. Cleans it thoroughly there.
And there it is, clean once again. Cody's a fan.
No, I think it works great. I think I definitely add this to the bag for sure.
For Does It Work, I'm Rachel Hackbarth.
All right, and now we're going to switch gears again this morning. We're going to talk about something a little bit more serious, home insurance. As you can imagine, costs have already been climbing for many families, and now as hurricane and wildfire seasons ramp up, one insurance expert says cuts, cancellations, and court fights around federal disaster preparedness programs could be adding more pressure. Well, in this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackman looks at the potential impact on homeowners and what you can do now to protect your budget.
When wildfires, floods, tornadoes, or hurricanes hit, FEMA is often part of the response. But the agency also funds work before disasters happen, including projects meant to reduce future damage. Leslie Kasperowicz, editor-in-chief of Insurance.com, says disruptions to that kind of disaster preparedness work could eventually show up in what homeowners pay for insurance.
Our prediction is that we are going to see home insurance rates increase.
One program she points to is BRIC, a FEMA program that helps fund projects designed to reduce damage from future disasters. The program was canceled, then ordered restored by a federal judge. FEMA has since announced $1 billion in funding for the program. Kasperowicz says that kind of disaster preparedness work matters to insurers because it can affect how much damage homes and communities suffer when disaster strikes.
What we're looking at now is potential increases to home insurance costs because insurance companies don't have the information they need, first of all, from prediction. And they know that you're looking at probably more serious claims when homes aren't prepared for damage.
She says that risk becomes especially important during hurricane and wildfire season, when one major disaster can lead to widespread claims.
If we go into this year, we have another harsh hurricane season. We have a really bad wildfire season on the West Coast, and there's a lot of damage, and the insurance companies have to pay a lot of claims as a result. We're going to see rates go up in response.
For homeowners, Kasperowicz says the first step is to look for any mitigation help that is still available where you live. She also says to ask your insurance company about discounts for work you already have done, like windstorm or wildfire mitigation.
We always tell people, think ahead, make sure that you've got that coverage in place because insurance companies will place a moratorium on new coverage when there's a storm on the way. So don't wait until the sirens are going off.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
All right, and now this morning we're going to talk about printers. They're humming in offices all across North America, but they're not just scanning and copying your documents. They're storing that sensitive data silently as well. Modern office printers have hard drives, a firmware, and default passwords that may never get changed. Our national investigative team this morning uncovered a massive blind spot in America's cybersecurity for some of these networked devices. National investigative reporter Chris Nakamoto has more on that.
Well, I'm actually originally from Honduras. A decade ago, my family and I moved here to the U.S. And since then, we saw opportunity and we saw that it didn't matter the color of my skin, it didn't matter my accent. As long as I was here to try and help people, that they would be willing to receive me, and that's the part that I've loved.
Carlos Ruby is now driven by a distinct purpose: to protect millions of Americans from a threat they may not even know about. Ruby and his business partner, Nate Michel, are passionate about printers.
We found a gap. We found a gap in cybersecurity.
That gap in security has led to vulnerabilities from coast to coast. Earlier this year, we found out about possible printer problems across the country after receiving a confidential audit of several agencies' machines. Our national investigative team found last year, based on a global study of more than 800 IT and security decision makers, only 36% applied firmware updates to printers promptly, leaving the printers without updates vulnerable to hackers.
People don't think that whenever a document is sent to the printer or scanned on the printer that it's stored inside of a drive on that printer.
Without proper network protections and security updates on the printers, cyber criminals can gain access. In 2025, one of the largest data breaches in American history occurred when hackers infiltrated Conduit, a third-party printing and back-office processing company. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton demanded details about how the sensitive information of 4 million Texans was exposed.
I also found reports of this breach affecting people in both Georgia and South Carolina, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, New Mexico.
Nationally, it's reported the number is closer to 25 million people who had their information like social security numbers, addresses, birth dates, and medical information exposed. Explain how a hacker can get into a printer.
A hacker can easily get to a printer through your guest Wi-Fi.
Our national investigative team submitted dozens of public records requests across America for printing contracts and the make and model of the printers they use to state police, sheriff's offices, police departments, local counties, and district attorneys. Only a handful responded, with most of the contracts we reviewed making no mention of firmware updates, malware protection, or any other security measures, leaving that responsibility largely for the public entities leasing or buying the equipment. Michel says managed print services should include these security protocols in contracts.
It became really obvious that this was a real problem nationwide, that this was all pervasive in all industries, across all companies, across government, private industry, all of it. It is a serious problem.
Attorney Jared Ambo is representing Michel and Ruby in their quest for the truth as they expose potential vulnerabilities in not just law enforcement, but doctors' offices and schools across America.
The purpose isn't to say you're doing bad, it's to say, hey, there's a problem here and the problem needs to be fixed. It doesn't really matter whose fault it is. Let's not get caught in the weeds about whose fault it is. Let's just find a solution.
CJIS, a part of the FBI, makes federal mandates, creating even more confusion. The Criminal Justice Information Service provides federal, state, and local agencies with rules to follow on how to protect sensitive criminal justice information, like fingerprints or other criminal records, over their networks. But those familiar with the process say they need more clarity about printers. Longtime Louisiana Sheriff Bobby Weber says the communication from the feds to the state to the local level has been spotty at best.
If that printer can do things that it shouldn't do, or if it's opened itself up for a hacker, so to speak, that can get access to your systems, especially in law enforcement where there's a lot of sensitive information, you have to take those concerns very, very seriously. I'm not worried about just printers. I got to worry about all of it, and that's including the laptop sitting in the deputy's car, his radio on his side, his body camera on his chest. What they touch something too. They touch networks. They have vulnerabilities.
Across the street, another public official was also concerned about the risk. Mert Smiley is the assessor of one of Louisiana's fastest growing parishes, home to a $6 billion Hyundai steel mill currently in the works. It's one of the state's most significant economic development announcements in history.
We now have just tons of new people coming in. We went from 33,000 parcels to 65,000 parcels in just the brief time that I've been assessor.
Why was it so important for you to make a change?
I had to make a change because our printers were so old, and I felt that we needed to protect the people of Ascension Parish.
This year, Smiley replaced all of his office's printers after Michel's company told him his existing machines were vulnerable. Give me a sense of like the sensitive information that potentially could get out.
Yes, well, we have phone numbers, we have Social Security numbers, things like that, and I think that it would be to the best interest that other countries and hackers would not know that information.
With this hidden risk, Michel and Ruby say they've created a software that can determine a printer's weak points, some of which are too old to even install security updates.
It's like any other thing in the world, right? Just because it doesn't hurt right now doesn't mean it won't hurt in the future. And the best prophylactic for you being attacked by someone is to make sure that you're secure, right? And maybe this printer will never cause a problem, but making it secure might save me hundreds of thousands of dollars in ransomware.
Once they're in the network, they're able to reach any printer that has default credentials, and they have full open door to do whatever they want.
For Ruby, the country that gave him a new life is worth fighting for. It's why he and Michel are trying to prevent network nightmares with a loud wake-up call.
All right, and now this morning we're going to talk about a story that you'll actually be able to watch on our newscast tonight here at KY3 at 10 o'clock. Stopping a police chase before it starts. A tool that can do that is growing in popularity across the nation.
Literally before he gets onto the highway and reaches highway speeds, we've got it at a stop.
We're going to be taking a closer look at the Grappler, how it works, and ask whether it really makes people safer. Again, that's coming up tonight at 10 o'clock on our newscast here at KY3. And now this morning, we're going to talk about elder fraud. Every year, the FBI says millions of older Americans fall victim to some type of financial fraud. Well, in 2024, Americans lost billions to fraud, but people 60 plus were hit especially hard, losing nearly $5 billion to scammers. In this Aging Untold Extra, Atisha Powell examines why older adults are targeted and how you can protect your money.
A Wisconsin woman we're calling Janet got a call that looked like it came from a trusted pharmacy. On the other end, an urgent warning about her Medicare benefits.
It sounded legitimate when they called because it was CVS.
Janet says the caller kept pressuring her for her Medicare number, insisting her benefits had been taken away and needed to be updated.
They just, pull you in.
Aging Untold expert Sam Craddock says older adults are often targeted because they came from a culture that taught trust, not constant suspicion.
They're from the old school days of when you picked up a phone and you asked for information, and you didn't have two-factor authentication just to find out how to get into your own anything. So they came from a world of trust, and they're still trusting. And unfortunately, we have a world that's not filled with people that you can trust.
Janet followed the caller's directions and ended up ordering thousands of dollars in medical equipment she didn't need.
He just kept pushing that.
Craddock says there are things you can do to protect yourself.
Don't give out any personal information. If they start asking personal questions, hang up. Don't argue. Don't just hang up. Thank you very much, and hang up. If it's somebody scamming you that they're your family member, call them. Have family safe words, and never give out personal information across the phone, even if you think you know who it is you're talking with.
Janet was able to stop the deliveries and get a new Medicare number, but now every call gets a second look.
Every time a doctor calls, I think, just wait for a message, because you don't know.
All right, and now this morning we're going to talk about fake online sales scams. From classic cars and RVs to heavy equipment, the Better Business Bureau is warning consumers about fake online sales scams. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackman is back with us this morning. She had a chance to speak with advocates about how to spot a phony business before you send any money.
When it comes to buying high-dollar items online, Josh Planos, Vice President of Marketing and Communications with the Better Business Bureau, says consumers need to watch for scammers and phony websites.
Over the past 4 years, we've received more than 200 reports of consumers attempting to purchase vehicles or heavy equipment machinery online.
Planos says some scammers are impersonating real businesses and building websites that look legitimate, making it harder for consumers to know who they're really dealing with.
I mean, we are talking about websites with cookie policies, websites with fake testimonial carousels, websites with actual prices that don't seem too good to be true. In a lot of cases, we're talking about images of skid steers or bulldozers that look like high-resolution photos that have been lifted from other websites.
So Josh, if I'm a legitimate business owner and I'm trying to protect my business, or I'm a consumer, what do I need to know to spot the red flags, and what should I do?
With transactions like heavy machinery, like automobiles, you really need to make that business prove that they are trustworthy. So one thing that we would recommend, you look for the price, make sure that high value vehicles or machinery at extremely low prices triggers a bit of skepticism within you, rather than the excitement associated with feeling like you stumbled upon a fantastic opportunity.
Planos says that means slowing down before you pay. Check the business on bbb.org. Verify the address and business information through sources outside the seller's own website. And be cautious if you're asked to pay by wire transfer, because those payments can be hard to reverse. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
In the meantime, if you are trying to save for a big goal, such as a house, a car, or a dream vacation, then it really matters where you park that money. This morning, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa takes a look at high-yield savings accounts.
A high-yield savings account is different than a regular savings account because it pays you a much higher interest rate, so your money grows faster. Kiani Epps, the founder of the YouTube channel The Responsible Homegirl, says these accounts are great if you're saving for something long-term.
Let's talk about buying a house or buying a car or just anything, a big vacation, anything that's going to take you a little longer to save up for. Put it in a high-yield savings account. You're going to get a higher interest rate, and that money is out of sight, out of mind. You won't be able to go in the store and do a quick little transfer because it's going to take you about 2 to 3 days to actually get that money into your checking account.
Epps says that way you have boundaries for your money, but you're also saving up more faster.
And they are able to offer you that higher interest rate because they don't have all of the overhead that a traditional bank will have.
You can research all kinds of high-yield savings accounts online, and you want to make sure they are FDIC insured. This guarantees protection for up to $250,000 per depositor in case of a bank failure. Epps recommends having a traditional savings account and a high-yield one online where there's no debit card attached, so you don't have anything tempting you to touch that money on a whim. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
All right, and now this morning we're going to talk about marriage, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. Well, that's just part of the traditional marriage vows most of us have heard during the performance of a wedding. Well, in this week's Make Ends Meet, Don G had a chance to speak to the creator of a new guest management platform that explains the vows may be the same as those in the past, but the celebration today is definitely different.
Weddings used to have a long list of do's and don'ts for the bride and groom and their guests. Well, there's a new experience everyone is having leading up to the big day.
Weddings are supposed to be the happiest day of your life. Don't let the financial stresses of that ruin it.
Joshua Kakos is a wedding finance expert and the founder of The Wedding Ticket, a platform that helps couples fund their celebration through guest contributions.
The goal is for the couple to have their dream wedding and start their marriage with zero debt.
Weddings of today are not your mom and dad's I-dos. Kakos said today's I-dos don't look like years past.
They're right at about $35,000 for the average wedding. On average, they're going about $28,000 in debt, and that's how it's being done right now.
He explains couples are now finding ways to fight rising wedding costs. The contemporary bride and groom are reshaping guest expectations and long-standing wedding traditions while saving money for their futures by using platforms like the Wedding Ticket.
The new way to do this is it's on the rise is cash registries. So you're seeing a lot of cash registries pop up. About 85% of couples register for a cash registry instead of getting gifts.
The Wedding Ticket gives you the ability to create a budget. Select your number of guests. It gives you a suggested contribution amount from each guest. You create your RSVPs and send out your invitations digitally.
We see this as the new way to do things. It might seem a little strange at first, but we really think it's gonna be the new way that weddings are funded in the future.
A survey from LendingTree reveals more than half of newlyweds say they had financial arguments with their partner before or after their wedding. 23% say money was the top wedding planning stressor ahead of pre-wedding jitters and the guest list. Keiko said happily ever after starts with the nuptial planning.
My first piece of advice would be to not go into debt for one day, have a wedding within your budget, or just ask the guest to contribute.
Keiko's points to recent data that reveals 86% of couples say asking for cash gifts is totally acceptable, while 25% are actually using cash funds.
Oddly enough, there's tens of thousands of couples that use GoFundMe now.
Keiko stresses, try to have a wedding within your budget and let the guest help out. If you ask for financial help, make sure you share that attendance is not tied to payment. Keiko believes contributions are the new way to fund a wedding. Helping you make ends meet, I'm Dawn G.
All right, Don, thank you for that. And speaking of marriage, there's a Georgia couple that's building one simple habit that they never skip. And it's a weekly tradition that's kept them connected for decades. Tisha Powell has that story for us this morning.
Love can be a very simple thing.
I'm grateful to have met somebody that wonderful that I would stay with them that long.
A hand on the back, a book in your hand.
Oh, she's everything.
Michael and Brooks Breedlove have been at it for more than 30 years. Dates together every week to pick up new books.
It's something we can do together.
They come to Read It Again bookstore in Sewanee. The shop has been around for more than 20 years. Aging Untold expert Catherine Ambrose says companionship is often built in these small rituals like date night, time you protect for each other.
Date nights impacting longevity and relationships, it's a big deal. Taking time out to do something together, investing in each other like that, that's really expressing love in a much different way.
Not only do they shop together, they shop in matching outfits.
After retirement is when we started dressing together, alike so much more, particularly anytime we were going out. I figured that way she'd have to associate with me.
I like him.
Ambrose says that I like him part matters because lasting love is also a friendship and a daily choice.
You make a decision every day that I'm with you. I'm with you. When you feel that kind of love, I think it helps you feel unstoppable and just secure.
Sometimes love is a quiet thing that smells like the pages of a book and feels as simple as being together and liking it.
All right, that was Tisha Powell reporting for us this